let's talk to this fella. He's Harold the Peacock. And he is a historian, and Ipswich should really embrace this bloke because he's written some great stuff and told us some great stories. He's one of the best researchers and storytellers I've ever heard, and we get a lot of reaction from him. Go to his website, historyouthere.com, check out all these stories. But not only that, get on there and say how much you love this segment. And he's going to talk about a bloke who was a giant. The Ipswich giant is a big fella. His name was Dick Barker, and if he's tall and his name's Dick, he's got to be Big Dick.
Yes.
Let's talk to Harold.
Good morning, Danny. How are you?
Good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Oh, I'm really excited. I'm sitting in a library as we speak, just researching more.
Are you?
Absolutely. There's no downtime at historyouthere.com.
So tell me, tell us about Dick Barker, the Big Dick.
Yeah, that's right. Dick Barker was one of 12 siblings and was born in Ipswich on the 5th of November 1861. Now, the Barker family lived at 26 East Street in Ipswich, which was the family home for maybe 100 years. The house was only knocked down in the 60s. It's where Headspace is now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's right. And the Barker children grew up there, and they mostly became teachers and newspapermen. But Dick chose a different path.
They employed him to get things off the top shelf.
More or less, because he took up bare-knuckle boxing. You see, he stood out from the crowd, and when he grew to a well-proportioned 7 feet tall and weighing 17 stone. And to put it in a modern context, Andre the Giant, the great wrestler, he was 7'4" and 37 stone. So Dick Barker was athletically built.
He's a big hero.
Now in 1891, Dick left Ipswich and went to Sydney and arrived there with an introduction to the great Australian champion boxer, trainer and promoter, Larry Foley. You would have heard of him. He's famous.
I did.
Now,
I have.
Now, Foley put Dick on as a casual gardener so that he could work for his coaching and his board and lodging. Now, Foley's gym and accommodation was behind his White Horse Hotel on George Street down there in Sydney, and that's where Dick lived and learned how to box with gloves for the first time.
Oh.
Now, as soon as Dick stepped into a ring, he became known as the Queensland Giant.
Oh.
He won his first few fights, but his highest profile contest by far came in 1895. That's when a giant Dutchman named Harry Placky came to town. Placky was one of the best marathon swimmers in the world, and when he arrived in Sydney, it was with a splash of publicity. Sorry, I had to say splash. It was really with a burst of publicity. But Placky was 6'9" tall and weighed 16 stone, and Foley immediately saw the potential for the Battle of the Giants.
Battle of the Giants.
Now, the match was made, and so the fight between Dick and the Dutchman was on. Foley promoted it with everything he had.
Yeah.
It was Australia's fight of the decade.
Oh.
Now, the fight took place at Foley's Hall at Wallara in Sydney's western suburbs. The crowd was packed in like sardines. Some reports said the fight went for 13 rounds. Others said it lasted 30 rounds. Now, what Dick Barker lacked in science, he made up for it with the effectiveness of his wallops. And Placky was the better athlete, but inexperience meant he became a punching bag. Dick landed blow after blow, but Placky just kept getting back up to do battle in a virtual coma. Now, finally, the referee stopped the fight and Dick was declared the winner.
Wow.
But Placky had to be helped out of the ring, and then he collapsed and was taken to Sydney Hospital.
Wow.
Now, some reports say that Placky was unconscious for 3 days. Others say he was out for a fortnight. But whatever, Placky was in the hospital for weeks, hovering between life and death. Now, meanwhile, Ipswich's Dick was arrested and charged with inflicting grievous bodily harm. And Larry Foley and his followers, they remain under police surveillance.
Wow.
And they all lived in fear of what might happen. Until the happy day came, Danny, when the Dutchman regained consciousness and recovered. But who made money out of this fight? Now, Dick's cut was just £2, 10 shillings.
Oh, it's not worth it.
Now, and there was nothing in it for Placky until he appeared smiling but very shaky at his benefit, which did yield him £14.
Wow.
And meanwhile, Foley went on to establish himself and became known as the father of Australian boxing.
Wow.
Now, As for Dick, that was his last fight. He became a brewer's drayman, and it was said that he would juggle beer barrels in great style. Now, Dick was 56 years old when he died of a heart attack in Sydney in 1918. And he was, till the day he died, known as the Queensland Giant. But, Daddy, let me also tell you about some of his family.
Yes.
Dick's mother passed away in Ipswich 2 years later on what would have been his 58th birthday. His siblings also achieved a degree of fame. Two of his brothers were well-known newspaper men in Ipswich and Brisbane. And another brother, get this, was ranked 14th in the world. That's 14th globally for having the best handwriting.
I'm a very good handwriter. I should be in that competition.
Well, and you're a giant. You're a giant.
I'm a giant amongst men. But listen, we have actually got a picture of him up on. We got him up on the screen. He was a very fit-looking bloke. Had the moustache, of course, back those days. And
that's right, for a 7-footer.
Yeah,
he looks good, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's also employed an elephant somewhere else. But they used to fight in long pants those days, didn't they, with a belt?
Yeah, but still, they're still athletes. And you look at him, I guarantee if he was here today, he'd be an Olympian for Australia. Well, for 7 foot and athletic like that.
They were rugged men those days. They were tough. But what a great story again about Big Dick. And we're just checking that out. I think he's got a football socks down there somewhere. But, mate, now historyouthere.com, it's such this, mate. I'm not making this up. The stories you just keep bringing stuff up. What's next? Any idea?
Well, what's next? Well, you're going to have to come back and listen next Saturday, Danny. I can't tell you now.
Oh.
I am in, like I say, I am in a library near you, so it's being uncovered as we speak.
There he is. He is a Queensland history giant.
Yes.
Harold the H. Peacock on West Bremer Radio 821.